Hello, hello. I think I'm live. Yeah, I think I'm live. So I want to go ahead and do this video. If somebody could let me know if you could hear the music in the background, so I can turn it down because I do not want it on here. My son is visiting and he likes to play his music and he likes to play it loud. Bless his heart. So I'm not going to wait anybody to come in. Every now and then I may repeat some things, but I need to go ahead and do this video before my break is over because I am back to work. So, as most of you know, the Tim Norman Welcome to Sweetie Pie's drama, this case that's going on. Hey, St. James, thank you so much for coming in. I appreciate that. And everybody that's coming in, coming on in, y'all come on in. Thank you for coming in. And please hit that like button. Appreciate it. So, everybody know about the Tim Norman case. He was sentenced back a couple of months ago. Oh, not sentenced. He was hey, DD Loot Loot, thank you so much for coming in. So he was tried and convicted, found guilty, and his sentencing is coming up later. But so far, the young man, what was the young man's name? I forgot. Anthony Travell Hill, I think is his name. He was charged and sentenced. Well, he did a plea bargain, and he was sentenced to 30 something years, if I'm not mistaken. And so now the second person has been sentenced, and the second person is the agent. The agent is Yagnam. We're just gonna call him Wally Yagnam. The agent was the insurance agent that sold the policy to Tim Norman. Okay, so y'all know. Welcome to Sweetie Pies. The nephew life was taken. They charged his own uncle in it, and all of them was on this show. So that's just like a little recap. So again, the second person was charged. A former St. Louis insurance agent was sentenced on Monday for applying for fraudulent policies on the life of St. Louis reality TV star shortly before his unliving. Y'all know we got the substitute words for, this to go through the monetization process. U.S. District Judge John Ross sentenced Wiley Yagnam, and that's his name there on the screen, but I don't know how to pronounce all that, on Monday to 3 years in prison for one count of wire mail fraud connected to applications for policies on life of 21-year-old Andre Montgomery. Now, if you want more in-depth information, go to Vale's video, and I'll put his link in the description. He was actually in the courtroom for the sentencing, and he'll have more of what the face looked like, what the reaction was, what the judge looked like, and all of that. I just have basic information. So Montgomery's uncle, as you all know, I just said it, James Timothy Norman, we call him Tim, the sole beneficiary of the policies, was convicted in January and September of paying to have Montgomery unlived in March 2016. Prosecutors argued that the life insurance Yagnam secured was Norman's primary motivation for this crime. Now, there was some questions about why only 3 years. I was in a previous live of Bless Watkins, and they were saying that only 3 years is like a slap on the wrist. But remember, he's not getting charged for murder. He's not getting charged for anything but his charge, and what he's being sentenced for is applying for a fraudulent policy. That is his crime. So his sentencing, he is being locked up for 3 years on one count of wire and mail fraud connected to the application for the policy on the life of the 21-year-old victim. Hey, Allison Jackson, thank you for coming in. I appreciate that. So Judge Ross said during the sentencing that he believed that Yagnam was motivated by the desire to, I knew I would mess that up. Let's go back in. Okay, Judge Ross said during the sentencing that he believed that Yagnam was motivated by desire to advance his business. So the judge don't necessarily believe that he knew about the crime that was going to take place. I'm assuming that he was motivated by the desire to make money. You sell a policy, you get, you get a percentage. I forgot what you call it. It's going to hit me in a minute, but you sell a policy, you get that money. So there's no evidence this is according to Judge Ross, his opinion as a judge, or what he said. There is no evidence to suggest you knew a unliving was going to occur. This is what Judge Ross said. But it was foreseeable outcome, bad things were going to happen. Thank you for coming in, Lizzie McAquire. Thank you so much. A commission, that's the word I was looking for. So the judge said that he believed that the motivation for Yagnam, the agent, was not necessarily that he knew this crime of unliving was going to you know, take place. That his motivation was getting the commission off the policy. The judge went on to say there's no evidence that you knew of the unliving was going to occur, but it was foreseeable outcome that something bad was going to happen. Yagnam applied for multiple life insurance policy, but only one worth $450,000 was eventually approved in 2014 by Foisters Financial, according to court testimony. Yagnam admitted in his plea agreement that the insurance applications included false information about Montgomery's net worth. And I'm sorry, y'all, my son's going to be loud, but we're going to just have to go on through it. But he also instructed Yagnam in text messages to impersonate his nephew over the phone with the insurance company, according to the evidence presented in Norman's trial. Y'all, my son, he comes over to visit. I'm sorry for the interruption. He comes over to visit. First of all, he takes over the music and do it that way. And then he takes over my whole house. But, you know, got to deal with him. I love him. So yeah, he admitted it. So there was a plea agreement. And I had asked about that. Oh, y'all can't hear him fussing at me. Okay. I had asked about that. I said, why didn't he have to testify and the other ones that made a plea agreement testified? And somebody told me that it was because he pleaded guilty. That he pleaded guilty. And so that he would not have to testify and he was going to plead the filth if they would have made him. But according to this and other reports that I read, that he did have a plea agreement, and in his plea agreement, he said that the insurance applicated included false information about Montgomery's net worth, Andre Montgomery's, his background. He also instructed Norman, that's Tim Norman, the uncle, in the text messages to impersonate his nephew over the phone with the insurance company to say, hey, it's me. Yes, I'm, I got a wife and I own this company and I make this much money, so that he can get that policy. According to the evidence presented in Norman's trial. And y'all know that the actual insurance people came out and testified in the trial. 16 after Montgomery's unliving, Yagnam placed a call to the insurance agency to try to collect the policy. And he and Norman were ultimately unsuccessful in obtaining the payout because the insurance agency was provided the final police toxicology and coroner's report necessary to process the claim. Let me tell y'all something. Normally, it's the insurance company that solves the crime when it comes to a homicide. Hello, somebody. Normally, it's about 2 or 3 people that's going to watch this video that knows why I said that. Anyway, moving on. But according to them, okay, so let me go back. Anytime there's a law called Slayer's Law, the Slayer's Law. So in the Slayer's Law, you cannot profit off murdering somebody, whether it be a 401k plan, a life insurance plan, or whatever. You can't get their if it's within the for those who are gonna watch the replay, in the comments, Allison Jackson said they're looking not to do a payout. Wouldn't say that, but if it's don't want to say that. I didn't say that. Allison said that. If it's within the 2-year contestable period, there's always going to be an investigation. And if there's a homicide, there's always going to be an investigation. Because you want to make sure that the person who did the crime is not going to be the one that's going to collect the money because of the Slayer's Law. Okay? So if you get a death certificate and the death certificate says homicide, then the insurance company is automatically going to say, okay, let's find out what happened here. Let's get reports from the detectives. Let's get a report from the coroner's office. If they will share it with that particular insurance company, that's what happens. In a lot of cases, it's the insurance company that is the smoking gun. Montgomery's family spoke during the sentencing, arguing that Net Yagnam's greed in pushing forward. Hey, D Dot. Well, I want to say D because D Loot Loot's in here. Hey, D Dot. Thank you for coming in. His family, so Andre Montgomery's family spoke during the sentencing, arguing that Yagnam's greed in pushing forward the policies created a motivation for their loved one's life to be taken, and that is definitely a strong argument. And they're right. He knew, he may not have known details, but it was enough there for him to know that that was where it was going. They said to him, the family said, "You turned a blind eye." This is what Darren Griggs, which is Andre's brother, said. And he spoke in the first sentencing too, in Travail's Hill's sentencing. He was very vocal. Y'all remember the sisters spoke after they charged. Oh well, they found Tim guilty. The sister went out and spoke with the attorney. With all the reporters and things. But now his brother Griggs is being very vocal. He said, "You turn a blind eye. I believe the insurance agents have to be held accountable." I agree. I so agree. I definitely agree. So Montgomery's sister, Kaylin Griggs, was, again, we seen before her speak before. She spoke on her brother's behalf. She said, "He shouldn't have looked at my brother as an opportunity to make money." There's a responsibility going with being an agent or a broker. Yagnam's attorney, Neil Brunttrager. Why are they messing with me, these names today? Okay. Brunttrager. We're going to skip it. Asked the judge Monday to sentence Yagnam to, get this, to only probation in the case, arguing that his client did not know Norman intended to kill. Why would you take out an insurance policy? Hey, Bless, thank you for coming in. Why would you take out an insurance policy on a 21-year-old kid? And all these lies. What did he think the purpose was for? What did he think? But as the judge said, he didn't care. He just wanted that commission. He didn't care. The attorney for Yagnam, the agents, went on to say there's not one iota, I like that word, of evidence he had any knowledge of the bad intent. That's what the attorney said. He had no iota, no way of knowing that there was going to be anything bad intent, emphasizing that the charge was a white-collar offense. Y'all all going to the same federal lockup. But he only gets 3 years. And why he only gets 3 years? Because he was not charged with murder. Y'all know we got to drop the M. Was not charged with murder. He was just charged and plead guilty on the insurance fraud and the mail fraud and the mail tapping, whatever. So because murder wasn't in there, he got 3 years. And again, his attorney asked for probation. So his attorney was like, "I don't even want him to go to jail at all." Of course he don't. He's an attorney. The great frustration of the white-collar cases is that the measures harms in dollars. This is according to the U.S. Attorney Gwendolyn Carroll, who did a great job with this case. In the end, when she was doing it, I was like, she's botching this up. She was making me nervous, but she ended up doing a good job. Said that in response Monday, adding that Yagnam coached the man responsible for the unliving through the fraud. But he didn't coach him very well. Because if he would have coached him well, he would have told him he got to live past that 2 years. But then again, that didn't really matter because, he probably told me, hey, it don't matter. Because the insurance company's still going to look at it because it's a homicide. But anyway, I didn't think he was a good insurance agent anyway. The sentencing guideline on the charge was 2.5 years to 3 years in prison. So that was the most that he could get. There was no favoritism here. That was the most. And the judge gave him the most that he could get. After a 3-year sentence, Yagnam will be under supervised release for an additional 3 years. So he got 3 years lock up. He's going to have another 3 years supervised release. So I think with what the prosecutor gave the judge, I think the judge went to the highest thing that he could possibly give the man based on the law. Because y'all remember, we can't do things based on feelings. We got to do things based on the laws of this land, which is not as always that great. That's why y'all need to get out and vote today. We complain about stuff, but whether we vote or don't vote determines a lot of things. So if you don't vote, don't be complaining, because you ain't doing anything to try to change anything. But let me get back on topic. Yagnan worked in the life insurance after a career in music. Like in my title, he was a producer of one of Nelly's best albums, as most of you know. Music industry that including producing rapper Nelly's hit 2002 album Nellyville. It's Getting Hot in Here. Was that on that album? No. That would have been before that album. That wouldn't have been. I don't know what was on the Nellyville, because Hot in Here would have came after that, right? Y'all know I'm behind in my music, so I wouldn't know. Here's the second person to be sentenced in the case. As I said a few times, Travell Hill was sentenced last month to 32 years in prison after pleading guilty to unliving Montgomery and receiving payment from Tim Norman. Norman and his other co-conspirator, Terica Ellis, are both awaiting sentencing in the case. And Terica's sentencing is really, Tim's, we're looking for, because we're going to see what happens with that, because his attorney is still trying to move stuff, do stuff, switch stuff. His attorney surprisingly is still trying to get him out of it, y'all. But really, Terica, there are some Terica sympathizers. There are some Terica sympathizers who feel sorry for her, feel like she didn't know what was going on, and want to see her get a light sentence. I don't agree. Even though I think she was a little naive and all of that, I agree with that. I still believe that you knew you was following this boy. You knew you was luring him out to Tim for some reason. So I'm not a sympathizer. I'm not a Terica sympathizer. That boy lost his life, and that family deserves some type of justice. Let me see what y'all are saying in the chat. Lizzie says he should definitely serve time. He was responsible to ensure was providing insurance for a person that he knew was being covered and based, that he knew he was being covered and based on that, a person's earnings potential and financial impact. Yeah. I mean, you know, if you put false information on an insurance policy, it's going to be looked at. And that's for that reason I said he wasn't a good agent, and he should have been charged. He knew he was doing something wrong. If you don't do anything, hold on, these things jumping out my way as I'm trying to read it. If you don't do anything else today, vote, please, y'all. This is a very, 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 very important. All elections are important, but this is an important election right here, y'all. Our former President Obama been beating the path. It's very important. And y'all be careful of all this election shiggity that's going on. I heard in my state, they're telling folks, somebody was told, not only do you need an ID, you need somebody to vouch for your identity. Lizzie, I hope she do a video today. Lizzie McIntyre was telling me earlier some stuff that was going on in Tennessee. If you put it in the chat, I don't forgot already. You know my memory. I don't forgot already. Some things was going on. So in different states, check out also, what is his name? El Teddy. El Teddy is talking about voting today and some things that's going on and giving some warnings and where you can call if you have any problems. I'm sure you good people voted early, and I should have. So I'm going to be standing in a long line today to make sure that I vote here in North Carolina. But please make sure we vote. I'm so happy that I don't have to deal with like the real YT. Yeah, YT is a mess, child. What else are y'all saying? We see what happens when we don't vote. You get folk like Donald Duck. Y'all want Donald Duck? Y'all want Donald Duck? One of our ballots we were asked to vote so in Tennessee on the ballot they were asked to vote if slavers should be removed from the Tennessee Constitution. Oh God. In 2022 we're a sneeze from 2023 and slavery is still on the Constitution. I know you meant slavery. Slavery is still in the Constitution in Tennessee. I gotta watch myself when I go there. Listen, Tennessee, don't be messing with me when I get there with y'all. Listen. Anyway, yeah. So y'all make sure y'all vote. I may come back tonight with election, some type of election coverage. What is he, a Broncos? I just noticed that he got on that Denver Broncos hat. I don't like them. So I may come back later tonight with some voting outcome coverage. You know, it seems like it take a long time for this, unlike presidential elections. You know, you have to go to sleep and wake up the next day to find out results on these type of elections. But I'm going to be up tonight watching CNN, hopefully, and talking about it. Child, did y'all hear what Jamal Bryant had to say about that whole? Let me play it. Let me play, y'all, before I go. I think my son just left. He better be still in this house. Before I go, let me play y'all what Jamal Bryant said about Herschel Walker. For those of you, I'm sure most of you heard it, but for those of you didn't hear it, yeah, that's going to be interesting too. Let me see here if I can find it. Okay. I just love when I get a thought right in the middle of the video and then have to send stuff to myself. But listen, y'all know I'm not professional. I'm just doing these videos. That's all. I ain't professional. I'm just doing a hobby. That's all. So we're gonna see if we can send that. But let me see if I can find it. See if one of my buddies was in here. If one of my buddies was in here, they would have sent it to my DM in my Instagram. But okay, I'll find it. Are y'all still with me? Jamal Bryant read. Yes, he read them for filth, and I'm about to play it. Sarah Huckabee and all of them do. Sarah Huckabee could be governor of Arkansas at the end of tonight. Vonnie, if you listening to me, make sure you drag everybody out your house to vote. You are just fine, Cruz. Oh, thank you, Dee Dee. Thank you. I assume you had it since you said you were about to play it. Girl, you know me. I just come up with some thoughts later. You know me. But let me play it. Y'all hit that like button and please, see? There go one of my babies. Let me see. Hold on. Yep. That's it. Okay. Let me turn this off and this on. Why is it not playing?
Would run for Senate. Ladies and gentlemen, when the Republican Party of Georgia moved Herschel Walker from Texas to Georgia so that he could run for Senate, it's because change was taking too fast in the post-antebellum South. The state had been flipped blue, and there are some principalities that were not prepared for a black man and a Jewish man to go to Senate at the exact same time. So they figured that they would delude us by picking somebody who they thought would in fact represent us better with a football than with a degree in philosophy.
Come on here.
They thought we were so slow, that we were so stupid, that we would elect the lowest caricature of a stereotypical broken black man as opposed to somebody who is educated and erudite and focused. Y'all ain't ready for me today. Since Herschel Walker was 16 years old, white men been telling him what.
Listen. I don't care what you feel about Jamal Bryant. He preaching this. Come on, Jamal. What happened since he was 16 years old?
What school to go to, where to live, where to eat, where to buy a house, where to run, where to sit down, where to sleep, where to pay for abortions, where to buy a gun. And you think they not going to tell him how to vote? In 2022, we don't need a walker, we need a runner. We need somebody who gonna run and tell the truth
Run,
about
Jesse, run.
January 6th.
Uh-huh.
We need somebody who gonna run and push for the cancellation of student loan debts. We need somebody who gonna run and make the former president respond to a subpoena. We don't need a walker. We need somebody who will be steadfast, unmovable, always abounding, knowing that your labor is not in vain. Georgia, I need you to know the slave Negroes y'all are used to don't live here no more. We can think for ourselves, function for ourselves, and vote for ourselves. Why? Because we don't need a walker.
We don't need no walker. We don't need no
walker.
walker.
Moved Herschel Walker from Texas to Georgia.
Let me tell you something. I don't care what you think about old Jamal Bryant and with his horse ways. But that, he gave it to the people. And he dragged Herschel Walker. I'm going to leave it right there. I may play that again on a separate video. It deserves a separate space. And we're going to talk about this voting and why this voting is so very, very important for us. It does matter. You have a voice. And I always tell this story when it's time to vote. When my mother was 14 years old, she could not vote. But that's when black folks, where she was allowed to vote. And she got on the back of a wagon. She was 12, 13, I don't know. She was young. She got on the back of a wagon, and they had cars back then, y'all. But she was down in the South Carolina in the sticks. And went up there. And they would throw stuff at them and everything, but her parents wanted her to experience this history and get her used to what what's going to do in the future. And my mother is a judge on the election board now. This is a very important thing, y'all. This is very important. So I'm not going to keep beating this because I'm going to come back with it. But what he told was the truth. This is why we don't want a walker. And I said, run, Jesse, run. We don't want him either. But we don't want a walker. We need somebody who's going to, and not only we as black people, but it's some Caucasian folks, Latin folks, Spanish folk. Y'all got some student loans out there. Y'all need some more help in this pandemic. Y'all need job opportunities to open up. Y'all need better. Have y'all looked at y'all 401k and your retirements and your stocks and things like? We need some people who's going to make some decisions, some good decisions for the people, not just for certain people, but for the people of these United States of America. So with that, this is Miss Cruiser. Please like, share, and subscribe. Please hit that like button if you're in the replay. Thank you so much for coming in. I will be back if the Lord says the same. I don't get lazy. With some election coverage. I also will be back to talk about is Carnival Cruise now the Section 8 cruise? Is Carnival, what's the word I'm looking for? Is Carnival now the Section 8 of cruising? So it's a couple of videos that I got to get done. And hopefully I'll be able to get to them today. Y'all have a good day. Be safe. Go vote. This is Miss Cruiser. Please like, share,